Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to another edition of the NoDQ Review, and we are on number 76. And I am Virtue, being joined once again by the elite team of NoDQ. Big G, I know you're out there somewhere. I think you're still working tonight. But tonight, once again, he's back, the remarkable Robbie Vice.
I am remarkable.
TJS is here, and of course, as always, Aaron Rift. So, Rob, since you were off last week, anything to share with us, or are you just ready to get into the grind?
You know, I have a lot of things that I wanted to say about this pay-per-view, and we should just jump right into it because I don't want to start making people upset already. So
okay. Well, I'm going to hit the pause button on you real quick. TJS, what's up?
Let's get into it, baby. It was a pretty good Wednesday, as usual. Monday, Friday, whatever. Wednesday, that's where it's at, fellas, let me tell you. Doing all right, though. Aaron, how's yourself?
I'm doing well. It's been quite the week. We had the Full Gear pay-per-view, of course. We had Wednesday night NXT, AEW Dynamite, and of course, the big news with CM Punk debuting on WWE Backstage at 11:59 in the evening on Tuesday night. So plenty of stuff to talk about today. I say let's get to it.
Well, let's dive in. Full Gear took place. AEW Full Gear, took place on Saturday. And what was memorable to me, but Rob, I almost called you Big Rob. So
man.
Well, Big G was there. So I'm mixing it all up. Chris Jericho retained, and as I thought, MJF was going to be involved with this in favor of Jericho against Cody, and we all saw what happened. I mean, he's too good of a heel, and I think they really need to portray that. I know it can't be like rated R, but they try. Right. I mean, look at some of the words they say on TNT. So that was very interesting. Of course, we had the death match, like a CZW-style death match, Jon Moxley versus Omega, which was unsanctioned, which went on last, and I had a little issue with that. We know why they did it. They tore the ring up, okay? But, man, remember the days when the world title would always go on last? And the haters, some people will say, well, not all the time should a world title match go last. Because look what happened at WrestleMania. I think it was 18. Chris Jericho and Triple H, Thunder was stolen from their match because of The Rock and Hogan before. But look, traditionally, if a card is laid out right, you put the matches in the right place, you have a good cooler, people are going to be invested for that main event. So, Robbie Vice, what did you think? I was a little shocked that neither the Young Bucks or the Lucha Brothers won their matches. I picked both of them last week in the review, and I was just hoping one of the big name teams won. Nope. So take it away for Full Gear, Rob.
Full Gear was not worth $50, and I say that with, I don't think WrestleMania is worth $49.99 or whatever it is on pay-per-view anymore. I just feel that the WWE Network model of $10 has just really spoiled me to the point. If I'm paying $50, I expect just something above and beyond what I see. And that there were some highlights on the show. Chris Jericho was good. They had some pretty good story progression with Cody, MJF. Cody took a hell of a bump. He bumped open the hard way, and that was ugly. And that's something I think Dusty would have been proud of. The hardcore match was stupid. Hardcore wrestling is stupid. I just don't think it has a place anymore. It ruins characters because where do they go from here? How are they going to have a regular grudge match after they've already blown off with barbed wire, suplexes, and brooms and all this other crap? How is it that Jon Moxley, after the hardest match of his life, shows up 4 days later on TV and wrestles a match and he's completely fine? I just think it's not good. And if you like it, you're wrong. It's not good. It's not good. It does nothing for anybody. So with that being said, I thought it was one of the better pay-per-views of the year. I mean, it's just the hardcore match was stupid. The women's matches were awful. The women's division in AEW just needs to go away for a while until they can reboot it because it's terrible. Just like the tag team divisions in WWE should probably just go away for a while. I don't know, but that's my Full Gear. That's it.
Robbie, maybe they'll start, as we saw on Dynamite last night. Awesome Kong will just start obliterating everybody and cutting their hair and making her belt. So
Awesome Kong?
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes. And I like the Brandy being her puppeteer. We'll see where that goes. But anyway, so there's a little hope there. Aaron Rift, Full Gear. I know you do your preview and predictions or your fallout, but anything you added since?
Well, Robbie Weiss had quite the opinion there about the show. I've stated my opinion. TGS, I'm just curious your thoughts on what he said. Do you agree or disagree with him?
I disagree, Sir Robbie. I have to say, I purchased this show. I never buy pay-per-views, but I was feeling a little generous. Spent the money. Actually went 50-50 with Noah Foster. Shout out to the Simple Man. So I bought the show, and I enjoyed it from top to bottom. From the kickoff, or I guess the buy-in, to the main event, I thought it was a very solid show. Every match got a good bit of time. It wasn't like oversaturated. There wasn't too much going on. I thought that the women's match was good. There was a story to be told, the teacher-student type of thing. And then really the entire undercard with the tag matches, I thought they were great. I really enjoyed the MJF turn. I thought it was going to be typical, like, oh, MJF is going to cost Cody the match. But no, it makes sense what they did, because now MJF is such a dick. He costed Cody forever challenging for the world title again. That's just perfect heel heat to me. And as far as the main event is concerned, I do agree. If this feud is not over, then excuse me, if the feud is not
hard to
over,
swallow that match, isn't it, dude?
Whoa.
If the feud is not over, then yeah, I think that they should have done that match at a later date. Because it's like you said, they can't just get into wrist locks and headlocks after suplexing each other into barbed wire trampolines. And I get it. Like, the lights out match needs to be a rarity. It needs to happen, very rarely. They need to not do it like the gimmick pay-per-views like WWE. We don't need a lights out match every Full Gear show if that's what they do yearly. But I thought it was a spectacle to watch. And yeah, as far as Moxley being on TV, I'd like to have seen him maybe sit out for like 2 weeks, but I guess not. You got the lunatic John Moxley. He's crazy. He's going to come back, whatever. Anyway, I thought it was a great show, and I give it a solid A.
Dude, Omega went from wrestling. Go ahead.
What if Mick Foley was thrown off the top of Hell in a Cell, and the very next night on Raw, he was just in an Iron Man match?
Well, he did come back out that same night.
He came out
during the Steve Austin Kane match.
Correct. But did he come out the next day on Raw and have like a full match?
Yeah, but that wasn't really a full match that Moxley had. There was hardly any offense. It was pretty much a squash.
Kenny Omega, Aaron, what happened with Kenny Omega? He was having these, and yes, it's for the wrestling fan today, but the Meltzer Classics in Japan with Okada, with a bunch of people. And then he comes over, and I feel like he's lost in AEW. Like, the Kenny Omega that the world kind of started knowing because of New Japan has an even bigger showcase over here, and he's doing, like Jim Cornette would say, these mud show yarder type matches. And look, Aaron, seriously, why disrespect a story like Jericho, the build that Jericho and Cody had, right? And they don't let that end the show. Imagine if MJF throwing in the towel, Bubba Ray thought it should have been thrown in the scarf. That would have been great. And that whole the beer thrown on him, I think that was a planted fan. That should have ended the pay-per-view.
I would say under most circumstances, yes, but this was a different scenario. This was a lights out match. And like you said, there was a reason for doing it. And it was a crazy match. And Robbie made a great point about Moxley. He should not have been on Dynamite. But I see they're doing this storyline with Omega where he's kind of just not getting into top level. Something's off with him. And I think that's just playing into the storyline. The fact that Moxley was cleared for Dynamite and not Omega, that's all part of the storyline. And yeah, if they did this on free television, then it would be dumb. But this was a $50 pay-per-view. And if you're going to do this kind of match, you do it on a $50 pay-per-view. And I thought it was great.
You can see it free in backyards across the nation. I mean,
well, those guys aren't exactly professionals. And that's the thing about the criticism that the match got. Kenny Omega and John Moxley are professionals. They've had many years of experience under their belts. And I thought that they had about as safe of a hardcore match as you can ask for. I thought it was really well done, and I was entertained by it. And part of the illusion of wrestling is making you think that they're getting hurt when they're really not. And of course, going into glass and that kind of stuff is going to hurt, but you know, they do it about as safe as one can do it.
I just think it's funny because if this wasn't as hardcore as it was, people would still say, "You call that a lights out match? You were supposed to be hardcore."
Right, and Moxley advertised it. He said that it was going to be the most violence you've seen in a United States pay-per-view in many years.
The barbed wire trampoline, I had to look away like after seeing it. Was, God, that was crazy. Such good shit, pal.
Wow, there's disrespect to Chris Jericho. I mean, you're building up one of the best villains of his generation, factions, great story, and you put that match last.
Well, you know what?
You had to tear the ring up. They could have toned some of the stuff down and moved that in the middle of the show. That's what they. I mean, that's what they could have done.
If next pay-per-view Jericho's not in the final match for the world title, if the world title match is again semi-main event, then that might be an issue. So we'll see what happens.
And we're going to go now doing our weekly discussion on the next topic of Dynamite and NXT. I have another issue revolving Chris Jericho. Like, I'm sure everybody backstage in AEW, they're all friends. They're loving it. New company against WWE. But we don't know. So I can speculate if I want to. There could be cliques forming backstage in AEW like there isn't any wrestling company, any business. Right, Robbie? I bet you Jericho isn't the best. I bet you when he sees Cody and Kenny and the Young Bucks all doing their vice president thing, goes old school, he's probably like, who the hell are these guys? There could be a little bit of animosity, and I don't know if things get rubbed the wrong way, but now Jericho, the champion, is jobbing in tag team matches. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. And everybody on Twitter that was saying, oh, Scorpio Sky, good for him. Now he can get a world title shot. You're stupid. Seriously. You don't job. You had Sammy Guevara, or whatever his name is, right there to take the pin in that match. So, Aaron Rift, thoughts this week on AEW Dynamite and NXT? We saw some hard bumping, some injuries on NXT this week. Like, they're stepping up their violent game, which is, they do the crazy wrestling stuff. But Mia Yim, man, wow. Yeah. So what were your thoughts this week on the Wednesday Night War?
Another great night. That ladder match was crazy, and I think Mia Yim really put herself on the map with that match. I think people are going to be taking a closer look at her now coming off of that show and that ladder match. And as far as AEW goes and Jericho putting over Scorpio Sky, I mean, it wasn't an inside cradle, so it's not like it was a decisive pinfall. But I liked it. I mean, I don't like seeing the tag team champions lose to guys that are not in a tag team. And I mean, yeah, Jericho and Sammy are part of a faction, but they haven't really teamed up or anything.
So why did Santana and Ortiz get that spot? Like, I mean, it's just little tweaks.
Jericho's in the main event. Like you said, Jericho should be in the main event. So he was in the main event of Dynamite. And I'm fine with it because in that scenario, the tag team should have an advantage over the two guys that are not in an established tag team. Plus, you get to add the element of surprise that anything can happen on an AEW show, and it's not going to be the predictable outcome where, the guy who's apparently the weak link is going to be the one to take the fall. And also, Jericho was 7-0 going into that match?
Yes,
and I want 8-0, 9-0, 10-0 because the one time he loses is when he puts somebody over for the AEW World Championship. Anyway, keep going, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about Y2J.
Well, what do you think, TJS?
I'm with Virtue on this. He was undefeated, and now he's going to have that blemish on his record just because...
Well, at least it was a tag match, though.
Yeah.
Well, he's not Goldberg.
Yeah, yes,
but that would have made this great because of the history of him and Goldberg.
Yeah, so, new company, new world champion. I mean, I get that Jericho's established, but they put over, wins and losses matter, blah, 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 blah. Well, you could have Scorpio Sky roll up Guevara, who should have taken the fall, and then he could just, you could have Scorpio say, I beat you in tag team action, Chris. Give me a world title match. That makes sense. So I don't know why they didn't do that. But I thought the show was good. This may have been the best Dynamite to date, in my opinion. There were a lot of... we're getting more video packages and promos. They must watch NoDQ Live. And as far as NXT goes... so I didn't get to say this a while ago, but I was not... I know everyone was saying that the SmackDown show after Crown Jewel was the best SmackDown ever. I wasn't a fan. The whole NXT invasion thing. Here's my problem with it. It was announced ahead of time. They were like, expect surprises, and like the night before, they were like NXT, Raw, and SmackDown Survivor Series. Shouldn't have done that. You should have just had them show up on SmackDown, not advertise, and then have Triple H say, okay, we're joining in on Survivor Series. You shouldn't have advertised it. That's my biggest issue with it. So yeah, and I feel like after Survivor Series, this whole NXT invasion thing is just going to be forgotten about, and we're just going to go back to the regular old brand split. NXT is going to still be a developmental, presented as a developmental, and that's going to be that. So, yeah, AEW is doing good. NXT, they're doing all right. I just hope they don't all lose at Survivor Series.
Now, Aaron, did the ratings come out yet? Because I haven't looked.
Yeah, AEW was up about 16%. They were up to almost 1 million, and then NXT dropped a little bit to like 750,000. So the gap widened.
250 gap. Okay. So here, Robbie, it's your turn now. When I think of Chris Jericho in this role in AEW, I think at some point I get where people's arguments are against me. They want new stars to get built, right? Well, pushing Jericho is like an old school villain monster who cheats or find ways to win. They can't. That just undefeated for however long would have been great, which he still technically is, right, in singles matches. And then when you have that guy you're ready to put in that top spot, the baby face or whatever, the face of the company, now to me it means more. That's just the old school in me. So I know you have your laundry list here for Wednesday night. I would assume, at least for AEW. So go ahead.
So this is what I want to say about the Chris Jericho thing. I actually agree with Aaron, and I agree with you, Virtue. And this is what I think. I do not think tag teams should ever lose against people. I thought I muted my phone. I don't think anybody that's in a tag team should lose to a non-tag team. That annoys the crap out of me. I like when tag teams have an entrance together. They have the same music. They're an actual tag team. With that said, they had a perfect chance to pin Sammy Guevara. That's who should have taken the fall. He's younger. Jericho's never been pinned, and that could have been something that built up to when he was going to lose, to constantly throw in people's faces that he's never been pinned and no one's going to beat him. So I felt that was a wasted opportunity. AEW this week I thought was okay. I thought they had some good-ish stuff. Brandy and Awesome Kong was great. I don't really understand. At some point during the night, they had the Dark Order facing Jungle Jack and some random fan from the crowd, I think. I'm not sure.
Wait, Robbie. Smarko stunt.
Oh, I literally thought that was a fan who won a contest, like a Make-A-Wish thing, wearing the mask. I honestly had no idea.
Hear me clearly, though? Smarko stunt.
Oh, Smarko Run? Oh, yeah, that's a good name. Yeah, I don't really understand why they had that, but that was probably the 3 of my least favorite people in AEW, which is the Dark Order and Smarko Run. But it was cool to see Luchasaurus come back. That was a pretty big pop. I wasn't expecting him for another couple of months. God, that guy just has it, man. Like I really feel that if they have a secondary title, that guy should hold it. I enjoy Jungle Boy and him as a tag team. I just think he embodies everything that made me excited for AEW. Tony Schiavone is still amazing. I still think he's the best voice in the business right now. JR is finding his way. It gets better every week. Excalibur, that guy he talks a little bit too much. He has 2 legends with him. He just needs to sit back and just stop saying things for the sake of
how about that spot? Orange Cassidy was where he belonged, in the bathroom and backstage.
So I like that. But I thought that was funny.
That was okay to me.
That was a good use of it because that was comedy that made sense. It was just a random thing that happened. I liked it. Yes. The Young Bucks need to cut their hair off. They're clinging to life with that bald hair, and it looks terrible. Wear the bandana. But yeah, man, Jericho is one of the greatest to ever do it. And actually, he reminded me a little bit of old school Hollywood Hogan back in the day. He took his belt off. He was hitting people with the belt. He has his little factions surround him. Overall, though,
he's AEW extra tan too right now. It's almost like he's doing the Hollywood Hogan gimmick in a way.
It feels like it, yeah.
Like just a little bit.
How do you guys?
Dynamite definitely has that Nitro vibe to it.
How do you guys feel about this with AEW? Just all the time, just the lights all
cut out, like with Sean Spears.
God, don't get me started on Sean Spears. Like what? So I get that you want to make him the chairman, but he doesn't use the chair anymore. It's like he just sits in it, folds it up, and then walks out there with.
Well, he also looks like he's 9 feet tall compared to the rest of the people he wrestles.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's just a guy. He's back to where he was in WWE, just floundering.
I think he's better off. He's got Tully Blanchard with him. I think that gives him more credibility.
I
will say this. We'll come back to that. I want to say this about NXT. I thought NXT this week was amazing. I thought they had a great leadway into War Games. A lot of really interesting things happened. That ladder match was, oh my God, one of the best female ladder matches I've ever seen. I can't say enough good things about that. Keith Lee reminds me of Braun Strowman mixed with Rusev with just insane amounts of charisma. I wasn't sold on him at first, but every week that guy gets better and better, and I just think he has something to him.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. War Games I'm excited for. I'm more excited for War Games than I am for any other pay-per-view within the last few months, probably. I don't know. That's it. Nothing really else stood out for me through NXT, but I thought it was a good show.
And like he does every week, Matt Riddle impresses me. I know you want him to change up his gimmick, but
I think
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, but he's got
like, that guy in the ring. It makes me not care. Like at first, right? Before he even went to WWE, I was like, oh, Matt Riddle, God, this guy, because of your very same reasons, Rob.
Right.
And then I watched him closely, just how he does his matches and everything. Also, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy goes in there and makes a work fight look kind of like a shoot.
Yeah, no, I agree. And how big is that Dajakovic guy? Is he like 6'5"? Is he like a legit 6'5"? He looks pretty big. But I know he's also.
I saw him live before. He's got to be like 6'6", 6'7" at least.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and again, I thought he was good. Not as good as Luchasaurus, but I think he's definitely good.
So we'll see what happens. But I mean, one word regarding just Jericho not main eventing Full Gear, and I get it, I guess, and then the whole getting rolled up in a tag match, preposterous. But let's move on, and this kind of segues to the next topic. And Robbie, I'm going to start with you because I saw you do a tweet. And I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I just want all four of us here, out of the top two wrestling, or what are your top two wrestling products? And you can throw any of them out there, but we got Raw and SmackDown. Yes, are considered the main roster, so I don't know if you want to group them together or not. NXT, AEW, Impact is still floating out there with like your Sam Callahans and your Tess Blanchards, Ring of Honor / New Japan. I don't know how you want to categorize that anymore. NWA. If you had to pick a number one and number two go-to, Robbie, I'm going to start with you. What are they right now after having a couple of months of all these wrestling products together?
The best wrestling on TV right now?
What are your go-tos? I want to know everybody's go-to, and especially you, NoDQ Galaxy, down in the comments. What's your number one and your number two out of however you want to group that? What makes you the most excited as a wrestling fan?
NXT. And a close second would be AEW. I just think both of them are the best things in wrestling happening right now. Like NWA Power is fun, but I'm not going to like DVR it and make sure I watch it every week. I'll catch some clips on YouTube. Impact has good things that happen. Ring of Honor has good things that happen. I'll watch YouTube clips.
About Ring of Honor New Japan, was that a troll?
No, I would like to do more things with that because I think they have fun stuff. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna have to rank,
that's what I thought you were gonna say.
No, if I gotta rank them though, man, NXT is my opinion. It's the best hybrid of old school and new school. They're better trained. They have better production. It's just an overall better product. It's objectively a better product. AEW is exciting because it's new. They have some new faces, like we talked about Luchasaurus. They have Chris Jericho. Cody is just taking his stuff to a new level, and they have the best tag team division and announcing in wrestling right now. So between both of those on Wednesdays, I know people think I just hate on AEW. I flip back and forth, and I think it's the best thing for fans right now because those are the two best shows on TV. Raw and SmackDown may draw more ratings, and I don't know who said it, but AEW and NXT do not nearly get the ratings they deserve.
All right.
They don't get enough. They should get more. I don't know how you can.
All right. So and that makes sense because before I send it to Aaron, AEW is my number one. Like out of all the wrestling shows, and of course I'm the Jericho bias, right? He's the champion. I want to watch him every week.
I got that Triple H bias, so I'm sorry.
So AEW is my number one. Like that's the one. Okay, I want to watch this. Now number two, you would think it would have been NXT, just a reverse of what you picked, Rob. It's not. It's NWA, and it's not NWA because of like the matches they have. I like watching NWA just to hear the promos.
Me too.
And of course NXT's right there, maybe like 2B. So those are my two. But Raw, SmackDown, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Aaron Rift.
Well, you made a great point about NWA Power. I really enjoy watching those shows just for the promos. Like I'll be honest,
They're quick and easy.
I skip over most of the matches, or maybe just catch the last minute or two of the match. But I like watching NWA for the interviews. I love those interview segments with Eli Drake and Ken Anderson and Nick Aldis. All those guys do a great job. It's a nice throwback to the 80s, and I enjoy it because they're actually doing storylines through the promos, and those promos set up the matches. It's just a nice format. So yeah, I really like NWA, but yeah, it's neck and neck between AEW and NXT, and then NWA would be third for me. And then I'd say SmackDown, and then Raw, and I do watch the Impact YouTube clips, but really I only watch to see what they're doing with Tessa Blanchard. She's the only one that seems to have any kind of momentum going on there right now. I'm not really a big fan of the other guys they have there. Sami Callihan doesn't really do anything for me. So, it is what it is. And yeah.
How dare you, Aaron? You just don't. I get it because you saw him in NXT. It didn't work there. His dynamic to me works well against the female, against Tessa. Against the dudes, it blends in.
I just don't buy that guy as a world champion. Like he looks like just some random indie wrestler. Like he doesn't have that star look. Brian Cage has much more of a star look.
Oh yeah, I agree. Brian Cage should be like in the big time, but I mean those are good choices the way you did it. I get it. TJS, you had plenty of time to think about this. I figure you're going to be the one that throws a SmackDown in there or something. Go.
Well, I'll just say, as far as the Impact clips go, Tessa Blanchard, I see a lot of her on Wrestle with the Plot. It's a subreddit. But anyway, I got for my top two, I have to say, number one, Raw. Number two, SmackDown. No, absolutely not. Oh, my God. It's getting to where I dread Raw and SmackDown. Number two, NXT. Number one, AEW. That's just how it is. I like AEW because it's new, like you guys said. I just really enjoy the presentation that they have, even though they have some production hiccups sometimes. They're new. They're working out the kinks. NXT, it's also very solid. It's close. It depends on the day, honestly. But those flip-flop between 1 and 2 all the time. Just very solid stuff from both promotions there. I enjoy both of them very much. Haven't gotten the chance to watch NWA. I've been saying that I'm going to do it. I need to do it. I know I'll get to it when I get to it. But, yeah, and I don't watch Impact. Don't really watch Ring of Honor. And I watch Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan. That's about it.
So my takeaway from this, and Robbie, you and I on Twitter get the heat a lot. Oh, you're saying bad things about AEW. Yet we just said that's our number one wrestling show each week. So
I say terrible things about WWE constantly.
I'm saying we want it to succeed. No. Hold on. I'm talking to the trolls out there. We want it to succeed. We like the good things. So don't we have the right to point out the things that we think that could ruin it in the long run, which is kind of what we're trying to do. So just to the haters out there, Rob and I don't hate AEW.
Right.
Obviously want to watch the show every week.
Yeah. I always wondered, what would AEW do against Raw? Would they take a big chunk out of Raw's audience? I don't think they would beat Raw, but I feel like Raw would definitely go under 2 million if AEW was on Monday nights. I don't know.
They're doing that on their own, so I definitely think they could pull them under 2 million.
Yeah, so
it'd be very interesting. And I'd also like to see where AEW would be Wednesday night if NXT didn't move off the network and it was a solo.
Yeah.
Would it be 1.2, 1.3, 1.5?
I feel like a lot of people watch the shows at the same time, though, and that's probably I don't know. It's probably probably about 3/4 of those viewers are watching it at the same time, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I do, so there you go.
So last week, Rob, you weren't here last week, but I want to bring this topic up again, but maybe alter it a little bit. Lashley, Rusev, Lana love triangle. People hate this kind of stuff today, especially the wrestling fans, because you see on Twitter, it just gets torn apart, boring. I don't want to watch it. I know Aaron said he's mildly entertained. I've said that. I don't know how the quarter-hour ratings break down during these segments. They put it on during the third hour. It tanked. The third hour is the lowest. I didn't get into the weeds on all of that. But what I do know, and Aaron Rift knows this too, the YouTube hits on this kind of stuff. Crush wrestling. Rusev crushes wrestling. So, like, I want people's take on this. Like, if it's so bad, WWE's doing this stuff for a reason, and it's working somewhere. So is there a big difference between cable and the internet, casuals and diehards? So, Aaron, what's your take on this? Because I see so much hate, like a lot of hate for this, but yet online it's doing well. Maybe on TV, not so much.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because of the fact that Rusev and Lana isn't going to lead to people tuning into Monday Night Raw for 3 hours. I think if people go on YouTube and they see this clip with Lana and Rusev and cheating, scandals, and all that, you're going to get random people or maybe fans that haven't really followed WWE much. They see that and they're like, oh, wow, that sounds crazy. That sounds like a train wreck. I'm going to go check it out. It's like, you know, you just can't resist it. It sounds stupid and sounds terrible, but you just can't help yourself and you click on the link to watch the video. So, yeah, I don't know how many people that watch those videos are diehard WWE fans. Probably not a lot. Probably just people that subscribe to WWE over the years. They see a video with a hot woman in it, so they click on it, and that's why it gets so many views. Now, there you go, TJS. And yeah, it's not those segments are not going to turn the ratings around or anything, but as far as YouTube video goes, they're gonna draw some people in because people just like to watch that stuff on YouTube. So there you go. You know, when Pornhub isn't an option, you got to go watch the WWE videos. TJS. So,
yeah, TJS. Like, do you think this can at least lead to a decent Rusev versus Lashley match?
I mean, yes.
Or is it going to be that bad and people won't care? Because here's what I'll be mad at. If it leads to a match and the match is kind of intense and people get into it, then it's like I'm going to question, well, you hated the angle, but what makes this match so interesting to you?
Yes.
Or will they be bored? Boring. We don't know until it happens.
Yeah. I think this is entertaining as hell. Like, I have not cared about Bobby Lashley this much since I don't remember when. It's crazy. He's showing a lot of personality. And Lana is being a great heel where she's saying, like, you're a sex addict, so I'm going to go have sex with Bobby Lashley. It's very hypocritical, very heelish. I love it. I just think it's really nice. I think that this needs to lead to a big fight. I want the two tanks to just beat the hell out of each other, baby. I want them to just completely throw down. They should have a lights out match. Like, it would be perfect. Oh.
Or Lana on a pole match.
Yes, I would love to see Lana on a pole.
Depends on what she's wearing.
Yeah. Put Lana's contract on the line like back in the day. We're gonna have like Bobby Lashley get her pregnant or something, and they're gonna deliver birth, and it's gonna be like Rusev's baby or something. Do something like that. And I don't know if this is like punishment for Rusev or what. I hope not, because I really like Rusev. I just wish they would bring Leo Rush in and, like Aaron said, have Leo try to flirt with Lana when Lashley's not there. Have him be like the chauffeur or whatever. I think that would be great. That would be incredibly entertaining. But yeah, I mean, it's like, what do they say? Sex sells? Is that the line or whatever? That's what people say. Look at the YouTube views. I feel like people just don't want to sit through 3 hours of TV. People just don't watch TV the way they used to. They have these clips. That's what they're gonna watch. And it's like you guys said, scandalous affair. That's plenty of reasons to click. People enjoy drama. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, Robbie, I feel like this is missing one thing. When's Rusev going to have his side chick come into this? And really, Jerry.
What's Summer Rae doing these days, right?
Yeah. So what do you think? You weren't on last week.
It's dumb. Here's the thing. Like, Aaron, you're new to the Eastern Standard Time Zone, so you could probably appreciate this. I get tired around 10 o'clock at night. If I know the third hour of Raw is going to be Lana and Rusev, I'm not staying up to watch it. Just like if it was going to be like an AEW women's match or it was going to be Marco Runt, I'm not staying up to watch it. I'm not saying that other people aren't entertained by that. I'm just saying I'm not staying up to watch that. There's actually very few things that'll keep me up watching Raw. I may watch Raw until 11 this week because there might be a certain dude showing up that was on FS1. I'm sure we'll get into that. But barring that, I don't know. It's not compelling to me. I know my girlfriend would probably love it, so I don't know. There's a
yeah, and that's why I think WWE does stuff like this. And
it makes some money.
Heyman, I mean, who knows who's Paul Heyman, Vince McMahon? They're at least trying to get people not interested in wrestling, at least on the internet.
Well, I know EC3 keeps TJS up for Raw.
Where is that guy? Seriously. Yeah, he's in the other room.
Oh God.
Don't you feel like EC3 could have been like what MJF is, but he just yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking back to the TNA days too. But what happened? What happened? Yeah. You want to make an impromptu EC3 topic right now?
I've never thought he was that good, honestly. Even like when he came to NXT, I just thought his work was.
What about his Impact work?
That was good, but like the problem is that when he moved to NXT, his entire gimmick was dead because it's like Dixie Carter's nephew, and then in NXT it's like, who's Dixie Carter? We can't talk about Dixie Carter.
Should have brought Dixie into WWE to manage him. That would have been an interesting storyline. But
Vince 15 years ago would have done that.
Nonetheless, I don't mind the Lana Rusev Lashley thing. I hope in the end, like I've said before, Lashley just dominates. They can have a good match, but I'd like to see him get pushed up into the main event with Lana as his mouthpiece. Obviously, Rusev's time has expired. Poor Aaron wanted Rusev Day. A lot of people did. It just didn't work. Vince McMahon made sure. But here we are now. Maybe Lashley as a heel with Lana as his mouthpiece could give us some type of villain.
Wait, when did she lose her accent, by the way? When did that happen officially?
Total Divas.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I just kind of noticed it randomly the other day. And
she says Rusev in the accent, but not anything else. It's weird. I like it better with. So I like it better with no accent, but the thing is, it makes no sense to call her the Ravishing Russian now.
Yep. But anyway, let's move on to the event because I don't know. We have to talk about this. I feel like this wasn't a surprise at all. CM Punk debuted on WWE Backstage on FS1. Now, people, he's employed, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, he's employed by Fox, correct?
Yeah.
Fox, not WWE. Okay, now, yes, their partners are working together. I felt like this is how CM Punk has chose to, get back into the wrestling business. Now, he might be looking at it differently because he's working for Fox. So the way he's looking at his resume, he might think of this completely different. We're looking at it through the lenses of a wrestling fan. But I felt like we knew the rumors that this was a possibility. So when it happened, I was like, oh, why did the internet blow up? Aaron, how did SiteTrad? Did this do anything? I know it wasn't the pipe bomb, but take it away. Talk about CM Punk.
As far as traffic goes, it was a little bit of a bump, but not anything close to what it did, back in the pipe bomb era, 2011, the summer of Punk with Money in the Bank and all that. Now, if he shows up at Survivor Series, I think that could be a really big deal. And this was a big deal to a lot of people because they never even thought that he would show up on Backstage. They all thought that rumor was a bunch of garbage and it was just talk and it wasn't really going to happen. No chance he would ever even come back to work for WWE in any capacity. And when he did not appear on the first show, people were like, well, he must have just not gotten the job and it just didn't work out. But then shows up 11:59, 1 minute before Backstage goes off the air. To me, that was a little bit of a surprise that they did that on the second show. And like I said on my live stream, I think it opens the door for him to possibly come back. What's weird about it is that his profile is back on WWE.com, and they're publishing Seth Rollins' tweets and Bray Wyatt's tweets. So clearly somebody in WWE, I don't know who's in charge of all that stuff, but somebody's putting it out there and trying to make people think, well, CM Punk's back in the fold again, and this is just the beginning of things to come. Whether Punk has actually agreed to anything or not, I think WWE would be thrilled to have him back, and I think it's just a matter of if he wants to do it or not. Maybe we'll see how this goes with the Fox deal, and if he's feeling it again, we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, Aaron, what pay-per-view comes in 3 or 4 months?
Well, we got Survivor Series coming up in Chicago,
but March, April is Mania season. It sounds like a good time to start building some rumors.
Yeah, for that. And I'm sure it's a total coincidence, but WrestleMania tickets are on sale, and CM Punk comes back a few days before the tickets go on sale. Just funny coincidence.
pretty funny.
All right. Well, there you go, Aaron Rift. Robbie Vice, what do you think?
I thought we knew this was a foregone conclusion that he was doing this. I know he interviewed for it, and if he interviewed for it, I knew he would get it because it's CM Punk.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, it's CM Punk. He has credibility. And from what I read too, I guess Renee was the only one who knew, and you could just see that shit-eating grin on her face. Sorry to curse, but you could just see her waiting. The cat that ate the canary, and the genuine surprise on the people that were there. It was just a really, really cool moment. Now, is there any big events happening in Chicago anytime soon for WWE?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Survivor Series, right?
Wow. Interesting.
Isn't that in Chicago?
Yeah, I think War Games and everything's going to be out in Chicago. So I just think it's really interesting. And I think now is the time to get excited for something. He may not be wrestling, but I wouldn't mind seeing him run out and cost someone a match. Maybe set something up for 3 or 4 months from now for a last match kind of thing to make some big money. But it's real, guys. He's back. He may not be employed by the WWE, but there's things happening, and he's definitely doing a show about WWE with people under contract from WWE back on the WWE webpage. And guess where he's not? And guess where he's never going to be?
But could he? If he was working for Fox, could he work for AEW for an appearance?
I bet you not. I bet you there's something. Fox wouldn't do that. I don't think Fox would allow that to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. TJS.
Oh boy, so much for No Nut November. Let me tell you, that was
TMI.
The second
C3 is there.
no, but Greg Cherry posted in the Team NoDQ chat. He's like, CM Punk is on backstage. I was like, really? And I looked. I was like, wow. I mean, like you guys said, the rumors went around and everything, but I was kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, okay. And then, when he actually came out, I was like, this is a start. It's a matter of time before we get those CM Punk shirts on the shop. And then it's a matter of time before they're at backstage, and then Vince pulls CM Punk into him. He's like, hey, Phil, come here. Let's talk. And then right there, they're going to shake the hand. They're going to get the contract. And I think that CM Punk is probably going to be wrestling. I guarantee he'll have at least one match by the end of next year.
Yeah.
He's going to get that sweet Saudi money.
He's going to want the Brock Lesnar deal, though. And will Vince McMahon give him the Brock Lesnar deal?
I think so. I think
yes, he will.
I mean,
I don't think Vince would give him as much.
Well, I think they're just renewing their deal over there in Saudi Arabia, so I think Vince has a couple extra bucks in his piggy bank to spend on some CM Punk.
Vince does not care if the wrestlers were held hostage. He's like, CM Punk wants to wrestle for us. We're going back over there.
We know they weren't held hostage, though, right, TJS?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The mechanical. Yeah, but anyway, I just want to see the numbers for next week on backstage. It's gonna be something.
Yeah, it will, because it'll be a
watching.
test.
I'll be watching. I'll say it right now. I had no interest in that show before, but now that Punk's there, you're damn right I'm tuning in.
So wait, you didn't tune in? You didn't tune in to see Ryan Satin?
Who?
Virtue did. He DVR'd it.
And again, he's employed by Fox, right? Fox.
Yes. Well, keep in mind, WWE 2K games and all that, they had the deal with Sting, and then next thing you know, he's on WWE television.
Same with Goldberg.
Same with a lot of guys that had those 2K deals. It wasn't with WWE, it was with 2K games.
The fact that Punk has agreed to talk about WWE, like you guys said, on a WWE show with people from WWE, I'm just saying.
I think the fact that WWE had to approve it, it wouldn't have happened if WWE said no way, Punk cannot be on this show. They approved it, and they want him back with all this stuff on the website.
So what's a Mania match we could get out of it if it actually got to that point? What's a big money match with Punk?
Punk versus Brock.
Yeah, rematch from SummerSlam 13.
Yep.
Because that's the main event. I mean, Punk would want to be in the main event of WrestleMania. That was his whole deal that he had an issue with, that he wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania.
What if
that was part of the package?
I could see it.
Yeah. He took time off and bargained his way into the main event. So there's always a possibility.
Hold on, Robbie.
I want it to end in a certain way, though. I want at the end of that match for Vince McMahon and Triple H to come out and screw over Lesnar and have that Austin heel turn thing where they just shake hands and join forces just because the internet will literally explode.
Punk and Vince.
Punk, Vince, and Triple H. That's right. Sorry I ruined your wedding, pal.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's No DQ review number 76 this week, and CM Punk is back on topic. So with that said, let's take it home. So I'll start with you, TJS. Go.
NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page, Twitter at NoDQ_TJS, and Snapchat HIIM Tyler Smith. Feel free to add me. Go to NoDQ.com/merch. Pick up the good stuff. Virtue's Rage. And that's the only shirt on air today, but pick it up, boys. We got some good stuff over there.
Robbie Vice. This one's actually on Pro Wrestling Tees, right, Aaron? And then the other ones are on.
But I'm planning to get pretty much everything else up on the news store for the Black Friday sale we're gonna have.
Sweet. Robbie Vice.
You guys can follow me on Twitter. Let me know how dumb you think I am, or let me know if I'm the smartest guy in the room, which I really do believe that I am most of the time. At NoDQ Vice. I'm also all over the YouTube comments, responding, defending my opinions, telling you why I'm right. And you know what? I've conceded a few points, and I have been wrong a few times. So you never know. You just got to engage with me and see what happens. Aaron Rift, why don't you take it home, sir?
All right. Well, we're always looking for feedback. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like it, share it, subscribe, turn on the notifications. If you did not like the video, let us know why. If you want Virtue fired from the channel,
got the shirt.
76 episodes, you know, and a couple with a guy in a mask. Yeah, I think I'm not going anywhere.
Other than firing Virtue, give us some feedback about what you would like to see on the No DQ review, like things we could do to maybe shake things up a little bit. Feedback is very much encouraged, and we do take every piece of feedback seriously. Although if you do troll, be prepared to deal with the troll slayer. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, but I'm taking it easy on the YouTube comments. So you have to go to Twitter to troll with me at NoDQ_ as TJS went. Let me restart that. Twitter at NoDQ_ Virtue. And look, some of the feedback, if you want to see someone else moderate shows, maybe where we alternate and it's not always me, you want to see Robbie Vice do it. Now, Aaron Rift, you know, we know he can do it. So give us that type of feedback because we're willing to change. If you want to see some people back, why don't you go bug Big Vito if you want to see him back on at the Big Vito brand on Twitter. So we will mix it up. We will have guests. But that's it. For Aaron Rift, for Robbie Vice, for TJS on Virtue, and we'll see you next time.